Welcome to Transparent Conversations, Elevated Exchanges. It's Friday night, so it must be Friday Night Live on YouTube.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Friday night. It's Friday night. This is welcome to Transparent Conversations, Elevate Exchanges. I'm Calvin, or CPJR if you know me, or CPJR 300 if you feel me. It's Friday night, so it is Friday Night Live on YouTube. We are live. This is going to be episode. This is going to be this is going to be Ethical Monogamy 101. This is going to be episode 6.36. That's episode 6, 36 days. If you know, you know. And if you want to know, just ask. Of course, we're on Elevated tonight. Not going to be elevated to day 90. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. But first, I want to give a shout out, or not, I'm sorry, not a shout out. I'm going to dedicate this show to Kilmar Armando Abreu Garcia, the young man that's been sent down to an El Salvador prison just because they felt like doing that without due process. He's still stuck down there. They've been ordered to bring him back, but now they say they can't. So I guess we're in a constitutional crisis at this point. We have a rogue administration. A rogue administration that's going to do what they want to do. So we have to keep the young man and his family in prayer. And there's other ones down there too. There have been some American citizens deported. So we're definitely in a strange area right now. I don't know. I personally don't know how we got here, but we're here now, and we're gonna keep. We're gonna keep. That's my biggest thing. Just being away from your family, being put in a prison, and you committed no crime. I don't understand how people are okay with that. But evil is evil, right? You gotta fight it when you see it. So anyway, welcome to Friday Night Live. Like I said before, we're gonna be switching gears. I hope. I've talked my addiction out completely, right? Everybody should know what it is that I've been dealing with, and then also what it is I'm focused on, and where I plan to go from here. And like I said, I'm glad to be here. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the check-in now. So I'm still waiting for the federal government to finish up what they need to do. I've never worked for I worked for the federal government one time before on a contract. It was the same thing, just forms and meetings and go here, go there, and just wait till such and such does this and this and that. So I'm basically still in the holding pattern. Kind of makes it hard to plan out the rest of my year, but I'm gonna be patient and just trust the universe. I know this. I know the universe has me. I know. I'll say this. I know the universe always works things out, and I know that and I know that the solution or the resolution is coming soon. What's supposed to happen will happen. All right, so we'll take that one day at a time. But I'm still getting restless, right? Getting restless. Um, so I don't. Yeah, my daughter's coming this month on the 17th. We're gonna hang out. I guess she's coming. I don't know. I'm sure why she's coming. I haven't talked to her. Her grandmother told me that. So Sasha's coming to spend some time up here. I guess she has to go to her job is actually located here, but she's remote in Texas. So I kind of want her to come on here, if she feels like it, and just talk about what it was like growing up with her father's an addict. I know it's hard. You know what I'm saying? I know it's hard. It was hard on me, so I know it had to be hard on her. But I'm grateful that I'm back in her life. She's back in my life, and I have one more daughter to work on. My baby's Kyra. Okay, so basically, I think I finished out the part about the addiction, and like I said, what I'm doing and what I'm going to do, and where I'm at. But I want to move on to another part of my life that's been very important, and that's been ethical non-monogamy. I want to take some time out. I don't want to assume that everyone knows what ethical non-monogamy is that see this. I know a lot of people don't agree with it, but I think that are you okay with cheating though? So I come at ethical non-monogamy from the angle of basically most people are ethically non-monogamous. I'm sorry, most people are actually non-monogamous. Most people are just serial monogamous, meaning that meaning that you know I think true monogamy is basically when you meet someone, you fall in love. Let's say I had a girlfriend in high school. I'm sure everybody did. But you meet that girl back in the day. My father and my mother is an example of this. They've been married to each other for how many years? A lot of years. But they met in high school and stayed married. And then the three of us came, me, my brother, and sister, and been giving them a run for the money ever since. But that's basically what the image when you think of monogamy. That's the image that you would normally think of. That's not the case so much anymore. More people are like. Did I fancy checking? More people are like regular, at best, serial monogamous. So I think basically the first time you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, let's say you break up with them, right? You had a boyfriend and girlfriend. You were sexually monogamous with them. You only had exclusivity with them. They could be, and you guys were together. You guys may have loved each other, but then you break up, right? So normally that's it. You don't have any. There's no way. That's it. That's it. You're done. That's your one person. But really, we practice what's called serial monogamy. We basically get with somebody. We're monogamous until we break up with them, and then you're with someone new. It's just serial monogamy. So you promise exclusivity, or you promise fidelity up until the time you break up, and then you'll just forget that person, and move on to the next person. So at best, we have a society of serial monogamous, and not really monogamy in the sense that is taught to us in the Bible or anything like that. So I guess we were all brought up to believe that this was the only way to proceed. Like you couldn't really, or you wouldn't actually choose anything else. That's all you had, right? You basically fell in love, and that was it. You just would be with that person. But then, as time goes along, I'll talk about myself, right? I've said it before on the show. I've never been monogamous. Let me say that. Yeah, I've never been monogamous. I guess when I was in high school, I wouldn't say I was a cheater. I think I cheated like one time. I already told that story. I did cheat on one person one time. I did cheat on some more, but I didn't really want to be a cheater, and I never really wanted to be tied down. I never really thought that that falling in love with one person closes off any relationships with another person, or the possibility of having a relationship with another person. So basically, I went through high school in my younger years, never really committing to anything or making anything formal. I was just around. I was just around a lot of people, and a lot of things happened. But it wasn't. I didn't want to be malicious, so or I didn't want to have malice, so I didn't actually promise myself to anyone or promise monogamy or fidelity. I just didn't do it. So that really left me a time to just keep moving. Plus, I was working in school. So working in school was the most important thing to me. Actually, working was the most important thing to me because I like money. So I never really took the time to have a girlfriend or thought about it. And I never. And if somebody pressed me on it, like what are we? We're nothing. I don't know where we are. You're you, I'm me. I'm not. That's it. And I wasn't trying to be. I didn't want to be like a player or anything like that. I just wanted to have real relationships. And I didn't see the reason why I would have one relationship, right? And then I would cut the other relationship off. Because I never really broke up with anybody. Because I don't like confrontation. So I never really broke up with anybody. We didn't have the internet or cell phone, so you could just be gone. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't see him. You wouldn't see him every day. Plus, I wasn't really dating anyone in my school because I was working through nepotism. I got a job at Hex, so I was working there in a whole other area, that wasn't close to my high school. So I would go there and see nobody from school. I would mostly see people from other high schools, and so I had I can move about. I can move around. So I think that was another part of it too. I just never really saw the reason to settle down. So as I got older, this carried on through my college years. It actually carried on. It carried on to my college years, and then when I started working, it slowed down because I was working. I was getting older, And I kind of figured that you kind of need to have a wife to be accepted. You know what I mean? Like you had to have a wife to be taken seriously. I was trying to work my way up in I was in banking at first, then I went to IT. So I was trying to work my way up into IT. So um, I saw that I grew a beard too. I saw that people were taking more seriously if they had a wife or a husband or married or had kids, right? So that was another reason for me to get married. I don't think, and this I'm disclaimer. Whatever I say, I'm not talking against anybody. I sometimes get calls from people when they hear me say stuff on here, but I'm not talking against anybody, right? I was with people, and then I wasn't with people, right? It wasn't anything malice. If I said that I love you back then, I did. So anyway, yeah, I did. So anyway, I got married to my first wife, and then and the thing about the thing about me getting married to my first wife was, I think that was the first person that actually brought around the house. You know what I'm saying? And I don't really think that because my mother just told me that, as a matter of fact, a little while ago, that she didn't see me with anybody else until I showed up with Rhonda. And I don't know how that was possible because I had a lot of different friends, a lot of things going on, but I don't think I had anything serious or anything formal. So uh, I think I brought a couple of girls to church, and that was it. And then it was just Rhonda. All right, so yeah, so that was my first relationship, and that relationship was it was interesting. It was interesting. Because I think I didn't really know myself, right? Like I was brand new. I didn't know anything about I didn't know anything about being a husband. I didn't know anything about marriage or being a father. I was a stepfather because Sasha was already here. I didn't know anything about anything. I didn't really want to be a husband, to be honest with you. But it was like the right thing to do, right? You're in church, better to marry than to burn. So it was just a matter of we're having sex, so let's get married. Now, when we got married, I don't think neither one of us ever talked about how that was supposed to look, right? I have a very I have a very loose my attachment style is very loose, right? I don't get jealous. I don't have a problem with you doing whatever you want to do. Just talk about it. You know what I mean? I have a problem if you don't talk about what you want to do. But if you talk about what you want to do, I'm fine, right? I never really had that. I never had a problem with jealousy at all. I don't think I ever will. So that kind of led me to understand that maybe I'm not the same as everyone else. Maybe I'm a little bit different. And I kept that going on. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. My daughter Sasha Kyra was born out of that. But so I got married, and then the marriage was really difficult, and it was difficult because I didn't know myself. I didn't know myself. I didn't know her. I didn't know marriage. All I knew was, we were doing what God would have us to do. Be married. Better to marry than to burn. That was what it was. So in this story right now, where I'm telling you now, in this, I'm going to assume that you already know about the addiction, what was going on. And then I'm going to just go on with this part, the ethical monogamy. So just know that um, my addiction was always in my life, and I said that the reason I got divorced or all my relationships ended because of the addiction. Not in this case, not in this case. Actually, there was a little bit more that why we got divorced. But it was just incompatibility. It was just a lot of incompatibility, and not actually knowing what we wanted and not being able to voice what we want. So that's why it's so relevant to me right now that I use this a lot. This comes into my mind a lot now because um, it's like right now. I guess for me right now, I could see a lot in my life that as I was walking through life, I didn't actually, I was just going from place to place, person to person, situation to situation. I didn't really know, so I didn't really catch up or really become close to who I am now until like my second marriage, right? And by that time, I had grown up, and I decided some things in my life, but I didn't um, completely open up to what I was, which was non-monogamous. So so anyway, I got divorced, and I had another series of relationships that all ended. Some due to most of them. Well, some due to the addiction, and some due to I just didn't want to be there because it's like, why would I want to be there? And that's gonna bring me up to um, my marriage with Heidi, and then that divorce or what happened. So that marriage was an open marriage, open relationship. It didn't start out open, but it didn't start out open, but it started out with us really talking or being able to talk to each other about any subject. We could talk about anything. It was a safe space. I guess at that point I was no longer a Christian. Heidi was never. I'm sorry. Heidi said she was a Christian. She was a Christian by name. Let's say it like that. Like, okay, you come from a Christian family. Everybody assume you're a Christian too. So that was basically it. Um, so that allowed us to really open up with each other and talk about a lot of things. Like we were talking about non-monogamy stuff long before we got married. Um, and I need to go ahead and do something right quick. I'm gonna go ahead and say, uh, please go ahead and if you're seeing this for the first time, please go ahead and like, share, subscribe, if you want to. I don't really know. I don't really know the audience for this yet, but I'm gonna figure it out. But I figure I'm definitely talking to people who are definitely trying to recover from any type of addiction. I'm talking to people who want to learn about ethical non-monogamy, or anybody who has both of those things. So if you want to, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share for me, please. All right. So also, we're gonna be talking about when I first got married to Heidi, we started talking about hmm. We started talking about different things, and I don't want to say exactly what it was, because I don't want to put business out there. So but it was a place that we were talking about things that really showed us that we were going to be able to grow together. Right? There wasn't any subjects that were taboo, and I think it was a good thing because it was the first time I was able to talk to her while we were just dating, right? Just dating, because she lived in New York. She would come down, but I was just telling her, like, the first thing I told her, my friends are mostly just women, right? Not sexual, just women, right? So and then every time I really get in a relationship, I get tight with someone, then I gotta break up with them. I gotta not break up. I gotta stop talking to them. It's a problem. I really don't want to go through that. You know what I'm saying? Is it gonna be a problem? Is it gonna be a problem if I continue my friendships with those women? She said, no problem with that. I don't know if she was saying it because she was in New York most of the time, or she just didn't really care. But it was like no problem. You know what I'm saying? Never had a problem with her having male friends. It was just like, okay, so that's cool. We went through that one, and then I think it went on to something else, and we started getting some other conversations. But it kind of opened up the door for us to talk about what we really wanted, and I think that's what I want to talk about tonight. It's basically our default is it's monogamy, right? Our default is monogamy. We grew up with it. Our parents are monogamous, grandparents monogamous, our friends are monogamous, but they aren't all really monogamous, right? Non-monogamy is actually a very big part of our society, right? People cheat, and I say that so that people can actually understand that if you go into your relationship, let me say this, right? There's a book that I like to call. It's a book that I read a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, but it's a book that I read in one of the groups, because I was in a lot of, like I said before, I was in a lot of polyamory groups and ethical non-monogamous group, and we would do book clubs, right? So this was a book that I present to the club, and I led the people through this book. It's called The Design of Relationships, a guide to happy monogamy, positive polyamory, and optimistic open relationships. Now, you kind of wondering, what do you mean by happy monogamy? So the premise of the book is that basically everyone's monogamy doesn't have to be the same, right? One problem that I had with my first marriage is I wasn't jealous, right? She was very jealous, and I wasn't used to dealing with jealousy, because I told you I didn't really have girlfriends coming through high school. I was not monogamous. You couldn't be jealous. You couldn't be jealous with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't be upset that I was doing this or that, because you didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know what you were doing. You know what I'm saying? We were together, but we weren't. Until I really got to, this was like my first time really like, yeah, my first time actually living with someone and then going to church and trying to be, a godly man, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I can't talk to other women. I can't go on a bike ride with other women. Hey man, you got a problem with me going to lunch with my work coach? It's just that kind of thing, like over and over again. And that's something that if we had talked about that before we got married, and we were already having issues before that, but incompatibility anyway. And we had talked about that. We had talked about that before we got married, and she brought that up. That she didn't want to get married. She had brought that up. I would have been like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this because this isn't something that this isn't something I can do, right? So this book, Design Relationships, talk about what is called conscious monogamy, meaning that you guys really get to talk about, like, you know what I'm saying? Is it okay that I have female friends? Is it okay that you have male friends? Is it okay that I have a work wife? Because I always have a work wife. It's very convenient. And is it convenient if I go to, happy hour 3 times a week with my workers, things like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just a way to make sure or talk about the things that people get tripped up in. Because I did not know, I cannot deal with a jealous person. I just can't do it. It just kills me because I don't understand it. Right? I know jealousy is a mixture of different emotions, and I could feel like I'm being neglected. That's not jealousy. I could feel like I'm being I could feel lonely because you've been out too much. That's not jealousy. Really, jealousy is a combination of other emotions, and it also is it's also like you need to really delve. You need to really dig into it. Like the anger thing and wanting to fight somebody because your girlfriend or even fight your girlfriend. I don't understand any of that. I don't understand any of it. Right? I can do commitment, but I can't do jealousy. It just won't work with me, and I didn't know that until I had to deal with someone on an everyday basis of jealousy, and it used to pick with me. It used to pick with me because I could not. The thing about it, right? If you're like that, right? From my perspective, if you're like that, people are gonna start lying to you, right? Because I didn't have no choice. I can't really change who I am. I'm not because I don't want to, right? I knew who I was already, but I just didn't know how to really convey it to another person or convey it to her or anybody else I meet, right? It's not till much later, like I said, when I got with Heidi, I was able to say, hey. Of course, if we didn't have an open marriage at first, it was closed, but I eventually just had to come out and say the whole thing once I found the words to it. But we didn't have problems with that jealousy thing. No, we used to go out and have a good time. With each other, and we used to go to strip club together too. So we used to have a good time with each other, and was no problem. The only problem that we actually had was me, my little wandering eye. You go out there, you get drunk, you're in a club, you're in New York City. It's a lot to look at. It's a lot to look at. And I was, I think she actually pulled me up one time and said, "Why you keep disrespecting me? You keep looking at these women." And I think what I did, I told her, I just said, "Look, Heidi, I'm a man. And we are visual, right? Now, I love you. I love how you look. You are the best thing to me." And she was conservative, right? She was conservative in her dress. She was from New York, but very stylish, very conservative. And when you go to the club, you got the little women with the weaves and the tight dress and all the spandex, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, "Honey, look. Me and you been hanging out all day, right? Doing our thing. Then we coming out to, we coming to Manhattan, have our little Jamaican food, our little drinks, our little dance. Where we come to, our little spot, Negro Village, our little spot, right?" And I'm like, "I love you. We talk. We were together all the time." Now these women, they spent their whole day just to look like this. That's it. They spent the whole day. And you know what? I say I like to look at it, but if I ever had to talk to them, I probably would just walk away because I know they can't talk about nothing because they didn't spend their whole day with their loved ones doing all kind of things. They're just coming out to get a bite to eat. They're here for a reason, and the reason is not to see me, and I'm not here to see them. But they still look good. So that really changed that whole. Never heard about it again. Never heard about it again. That was it. You know what I'm saying? And and the reason I did that because we had to get over this hump because I'm not gonna cut my eyes out, and I'm not gonna stop going out. But it's not really. But I think also that also woke me up to maybe I am gonna be a little bit too. I'm looking a little bit too hard, a little bit too long. So I turned my attention back to where it's supposed to be. Um, so those are the type of conversations that we were having, and then when we got to the point where it was time to have the big conversations, which I'm not gonna talk about tonight. Um, um, ethical non-monogamy, that conversation went. It went. It went. It went. It started. It went good. It went well. So let me go ahead and we're going to talk about ethical non-monogamy 101. Like, what is ethical non-monogamy, or what is non-monogamy, right? So ethical non-monogamy is an umbrella, right? It's the top level, right? What we call ethical non-monogamy can mean a lot of different things, right? And I'm gonna play this other little video by Esther Pearl. I think she's brilliant, and I'm gonna play this real quick just to let her talk about what ethical monogamy is and how it can work, and then I'm gonna go ahead and bring it on home. So here's Esther Pearl.
Monogamous relationships can absolutely be stable. Non-monogamous relationships define stability very different sometimes than exclusive relationships. And non-monogamous relationship is not one model. It's a proliferation of different ways that people explore non-monogamy. So it can be sexual non-monogamy, non-exclusivity, but it can be polyamory, and it can be polyamory that has a primary relationship with more peripheral ones around, and it can be not a polyamory that is more of a communal model altogether. So there is not mono versus non-mono. I think that distinction itself has to really be challenged. And for that matter, what are often proclaimed monogamous relationships are often clandestine, adulterous relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So people negotiate monogamy all the time, but sometimes they just negotiate it with themselves. I think that there is your question is seductive and fraught.
Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you. Not the wrong one, sorry. So I hope that makes sense to you. So basically, what you're saying is basically we negotiate what we want. Non-monogamy is not like once someone says they're non-monogamous, the next question is, well, what do you mean? Are you a swinger? Do you just have NSA sex? Do you have you have an open relationship? Do you have like just friends with benefits? The relationship anarchy, that's a high level thing. We're not going to deal with that. Or are you polyamorous, right? So me myself under ethical non-monogamy, we did start as swingers. I'm gonna talk about that more. We did start as swingers. I didn't want to. That wasn't my idea, but that was the way that both of us got into ethical non-monogamy. So you had to. I tell you one thing, swinging did teach me a lot about myself, though. I will say that. And then I will say this too. That most people do know that. Most people don't know, but I started out as a Christian. I wasn't a Christian when I left the church. I left my community. Right. I didn't have a community until I got back. Oh. I don't know what it is. So anyway, maybe someone getting the delivery. What I was going to say. Oh yeah, so yeah, I left. So when I left church, I left my community, right? So as soon as we got married, I had a lot of different girlfriends. So as soon as I got married to Heidi, we just me and her, we working a lot. And as soon as we got into the ethical non-monogamous community, we both of us. As soon as we opened up our marriage, got into the community, we had a lot of friends and a lot of activities, because ethical non-monogamy, the community is kind of welcoming, because there's not a lot of us, and we kind of like clean together. So, because it's hard to really talk about the things that we talk about, relationships, in the way that we talk about it openly, right? I have been met with people with hostility when I talk about ethical non-monogamy. You know what I mean? Like from cheaters, people that cheat will get mad at me because I don't have to cheat, or we just openly. That's another thing too. A lot of people call ethical non-monogamy just cheaters. I don't know how we both agreed to it. Something just happened to my computer. I don't know how we agreed to what we're doing. If we agree to what we're doing, then it can't be really ethical. It's not cheating, right? It's agreed. It's an agreement. So and that's what ethical non-monogamy is. It's the agreement. Two people agree to have other people, other situations in their main, as part of their relationship, right? But people still can't cheat in ethical non-monogamy, right? You can just you can basically break an agreement, cross a boundary, things like that. And I'm talking about things like a lot of people. Okay, so let me tell you this one agreement that I had when we first started ethical non-monogamy. It was that whole thing about I think we were swingers, so it was. I'm gonna say this. Okay, now I'm gonna say same rule, same room, no penetration. Okay, that's a term that we use. That was a rule, right? It was salt. It's called soft swap, right? Soft swap. So that was what we did. And if you with someone and then you violate that's called cheating because you didn't violate. Let's say you went all the way, you had full swap, you weren't supposed to. So then that's kind of ruins it for the person. Or let's say if you're in a lot of people do D&Ds, don't ask, don't tells, and then someone tells their partner's sister what they were doing or something like that, or you're not supposed to have. A lot of people had rules like don't have sex with my friend, and you have something different. So that was the type of things. Where I'm at now, I don't do any rules at all. I never do rules. I'm sorry, I don't do any boundaries. You don't have to tell me like my next partner or the partners I've had up to this point. My thing is be happy, be safe, don't bring any diseases home. We good because I don't have to know what you're doing. Like another rule is like tell me or let me know if you're gonna have sex tonight. Things like that. That none of that. That's all left, and I'm gonna talk about that more. But I just want to really drill down into the fact that we actually do have. Most of us are non-monogamous. Our community or our community, our community just talks about it or just openly talks about how that's gonna look. Right? There's no need to cheat. Even in my relationship with my ex-wife, I never looked at her phone. She never looked through my phone because why? We're talking about exactly what we're doing. I mean, like we're talking about, and that's another thing. This thing. A lot of the people think that this is all about sex. It's not. It's about conversation. It's really how I learned. It's really how I got to the point where I can really learn who I am and what I really need in my relationships, and it's still taking me a while to get there, but I'm getting there, and I don't think I would have gotten there at all if I hadn't had this experience. So even though I'm divorced from my wife, I do still appreciate that time I had with her. She's happy now, and I'm getting there. So I think it's one more thing. Let me make sure I cross off everything. Oh, I do want to bring up one thing about last week, and I was talking about the stigma of addiction, and I just want to I'll do it in a minute, but I just want to quickly talk about that for one more second because it was an article that came out and it was misleading at most. So I just want to say that the reason I'm talking about this now is basically I'm tying the two together, right? My relationship was good. I still dealing with my addiction, but I don't think that if I had, I don't know, it's having that community, and it's still there, right? That community, all the people I knew from being in ethical non-monogamy, I haven't been around. I still see them on Facebook, and they still do a lot of meetups, and I still can go hang with them today. You know what I'm saying? And I can call people today, and I wouldn't have had that. I'd be completely isolated right now if I hadn't came into the ethical non-monogamous community, right? I definitely would. And the only reason I'm not going out with them now is because I'm just basically like I'm isolating myself now so I can build myself up, and then when I get back in that community again, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So I think this is an important thing. What I'm gonna do. So we talked about the hold on one second. So we talked about the umbrella, ethical non-monogamy, and then you drill down from there as to where you are. Like when somebody asks me what I am, like a lot of people do in these communities, I'm polyamorous / open, right? Meaning that I lead with polyamory. Polyamory means many loves, right? It means I'm more into relationships, love, than the whole physical sex part. I call myself demisexual. I'm gonna talk about all these words. I had this word last week. I call myself demisexual, meaning that I don't really have a sexual attraction to anyone until there's a bond, right? And then another thing I saw, it also means that I actually can fall in love with somebody before they fall in love with me. That's an interesting part. I didn't know that part. I'm gonna look at that some more, and that's actually true because that happened to me a lot. So a lot. So it's important to, if you're looking at this world, to really think about it, because once, if you're in a relationship right now and you're talking about opening up your relationship, it's gonna be one of the hardest things you do. I always say that all the time, because so basically when you bring this up with your partner, and if you do this after you're already together, right? They're gonna think, they may think you should have told them beforehand, because now you're changing the whole dynamic of the relationship. So once you do that, understand, if you ever do that, your relationship could end right there, but it will never be the same again. but can you still live? Can you still not live your truth? You know what I mean? Can you not be a non-monogamous person? I couldn't do it anymore, and it wasn't. And like I said last week, that wasn't the reason why we got divorced. I don't know what she did. I don't think she did. I did talk to Heidi a couple times, like a couple years ago. Yeah, it didn't seem like that she went back all the way fully to monogamy. There was some things going on. So yeah, there was some things going on. So I think once you accept who you are, like I say, know your truth, walk in your truth, know when you're being pulled from your truth. If you go down this road, which has helped me a lot. I'm gonna talk about it some more. I just wanted to really just bring it up and let you know where we were going. I'm going to talk about the different aspects of it. I don't want to go into it too deep because I want to make sure I cover everything. Like swinging is kind of swinging is non-monogamous, but it's kind of like it's that whole physical NSA thing, right? Like you go into a club, you don't know who you're gonna be with, you meet people, bada bing, bada boom. And this happened to happen, but it's not really like a relationship, right? Which is important to me. I didn't know how. I thought I was going around, hunting for girls for sex. No, I'm looking for relationships. And that's like crazy, right? I didn't even know that. And it really got to a head, I think, even before I got married to Heidi, because I was with someone else. And then when we were breaking up, I was out, trying to date, meet, stuff like that. But I'm trying not to have sex with women. I'm like, can we just give it some time? And they didn't understand. I'm like, because I don't want to, because I know that if we get into this, it's gonna change how I look at you. It's gonna make me, I'm gonna have lust. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I mean? Like that's just one aspect. That's not gonna hold me. And I don't want to have and that's maybe the issue with my first marriage. I don't want to have the tie to you. Like I want to stay with you because the sex is good. I want to stay with you because we're compatible and we're a team and we're gonna be able to build something. And that was hard to find, believe it or not. Believe it or not, that was very hard to find. And I carried that on for a lot. I had that problem in the ethical monogamous community too when I was dating. Because you basically, I'll talk about it more. But basically, the swinging part really showed me that I was never really looking for a lot of sex. I was just looking for a lot of women to have relationships with. And that's I learned that through, going through swinging. Having a lot of relationships is not a bad thing. I think they tell us it's a lot of bad things, but I don't think it's a bad thing. Because I guess we don't really view breakups as failure, right? Like, oh, I failed, this relationship didn't work. Because you basically are open to so many relationships that all of them can't work. But you know what I'm saying? But you're definitely open to, vetting and going out and seeing what's possible, which is fine. But for some, I don't say that. It's a lot of, I don't say it yet, but it's a lot of things that you don't want to get into, and you really have to learn. Even as a male in this community, you have to learn to speak up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like this, I don't want to do that, or I'm not gonna do that. This is how I want to do it, and you still gotta look at people trying to waste your time, because it's a matter of convenience, I think, because our community is so small. I'm 59, so I'm not really trying to, like, I'm okay with being alone at this point, because I can't be with a anyone that's in the monogamy and is probably a Christian. I really probably can't be with you. And it's nothing wrong with that. I don't have anything against monogamy. I don't have anything wrong with Christianity. I just know for me it's limiting, right? I know that you're gonna be stuck on things that I've already been, I've been long past, you know. So why would I even try? And then at this point, also I know that I get distracted very easily, and unless you really, like I said, unless you really want to get into my upcoming nomadic lifestyle, it's not even a point of even trying. Like I don't even want to try. I don't want to be distracted. I don't want to get waste time. I don't want to waste your time, my time, no time. So my community and my pool of potentials is very very small, and it's gonna stay small because I really don't waste any time. So I think, yeah, I'm gonna come back to on the Wednesday for the recap. Hopefully, I have some good news. I'm still doing I'm still dealing with the government. I'm still doing these daggone background checks. It's crazy. I think it's the 47 kind of slowing things up too. But it's gonna go through. So anyway, yeah, I already turned off a little. So yeah, we're good on that part. So it's just like I'll be back. I'm gonna hash some more things out. I think I just want to talk about. I want to talk about more about how we got started because it wasn't all like kicks and giggles, man. There was some hard times. You know what I mean? Like it was some hard times because I think once even though once we did, I'm gonna tell you about the conversation, what happened, and I'm gonna tell you about because her when we first got into ethical monogamy, she didn't know anything about polyamory. That was different. You know what I'm saying? Because that caused her to say to me, if I knew this before we got married, we wouldn't have got married. And I had to just sit there and say, I know. But in the end, she was polyamorous, right? I think sometimes you got to understand. I mean, I kind of knew that because we were both Aries. We were just like go on adventures and anything that she never just said no. She never said no. She would get mad. She would get. She would get upset about how I was executing some things because I could be kind of very very liberal and accepting and not have a high standard as she did. So that was an issue. But the actual part about other people in our life, no, that was no problem. This was me. I was the problem. I was the problem. Being too, and I wrote an article on that too about being too anxious. And a lot of men, when they get in this thing, they are very, very. It's like new. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's new candy everywhere, and you want to eat it all and play with all the toys. And women are made. Most women are a little bit slower, a little bit. Let's see what this is about. Let's scope it out. Take some time, get to know some people. But we actually got it together in the end. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about that more because I'm gonna really tie it into like I want to talk about how we got the divorce, everything, and what happened after the divorce, and then the people that I still have in my life today. These people that I still have in my life today all come from the ethical non-monogamous community, right? They all do, and I'm thankful for them. So I guess I'm gonna wrap it there, leave it up there, and I'll come back tomorrow and finish this up. So we're gonna be talking about ethical non-monogamy. Next week I'm gonna really go into swinging, and what's that about? What can I say about swinging? I'm gonna leave you with this though. It's not what you think it is. I think real swingers are kind of really hard to get along with. They're kind of like they could be sneaky. It's a lot of drama. Most of the drama we had was dealing with swingers because it's like some of them can be very insatiable and they need to because they can't. Okay, there's a rule like most swingers don't have any problem with the sex with other people. They have a problem if you fall in love with other people, so they're constantly looking for new people. They don't really want to form tight cliques because they don't want to deal with emotional entanglements and things like that. So it gets tricky dealing in that environment. All right. I hope you got something out of this. I think I'm missing something. Do we have any questions? Any questions? Very good. I'll see you next week. We're gonna talk about swinging next week, and then we're gonna talk about my thing. My thing is polyamory, right? That's the way I've been living. That's what I understand most. And you believe it? I wrote all this. You can't really see it, right? I actually wrote all this, and I'm supposed to talk about it. This all talks about this talks about how I was never monogamous in high school. My priorities were school and work. I was by myself a lot, and I wasn't by myself. I wasn't in committed relationships at all, even through college. I think I did have one committed relationship. In college I had one girlfriend when I was first there. I'm not gonna talk about junior college when I was in PG community college down here. I'm not gonna talk about that. That was a mess. Because I had too much. I had too much freedom, and I was just like, I was a kid in the candy store, and I made a lot of bad mistakes, and I hurt a lot of people. I didn't hurt a lot of people. I hurt like one or two. Not really hurt. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, because we weren't committed. We just met. But I wasn't the most stable guy, because I didn't know what monogamy was. Nobody talked to me about monogamy. Did anybody talk to y'all about monogamy? I didn't really understand it for the life of me. I'm like, here's my problem with high school loves, right? We're in high school. We're not getting married. We're not getting married. What are we doing? I'm going to class. You going to class. I'm going to work. You going to work. What? It's like maybe 6 months. I'm gonna get bored. And I'm gonna pledge I commend my parents. I commend most of my aunts. They all did it. They all knew. I don't know what happened to me, but it just didn't click. It just did not click, and I just could not do it. I just didn't want to do it. I mean, I had, like I said, I had girlfriends, but it was like there's a shelf life on it, right? If I would have met, if I could have met a female version of myself, maybe that could have worked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, keep moving, we doing things. Let's go have this adventure. Let's go do this. Because I was all over the place. I had a car, so I was all everywhere. And I wasn't with my school. By the time I got to school, by the time I graduated, I was through with school. I wasn't even there. I mean, I had like one credit. I needed one credit. I wasn't even there. I was out in the streets working, getting money, and then going out, hanging out. Yes, what it was. I was hanging out with people that were older than me, and then smoking a lot of weed. So that was basically what I was doing. So it was like I wasn't even thinking about a girlfriend. How that life was so good. No, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, it was a lot going on. So we're gonna go continue this, and and this is a little bit lighter for me, because it gave me and my second wife a lot of years together, and it gave us we had a lot of good times. Of course, I ruined that. The addiction is still there. We never gonna talk about. It was always there. And it would always cause problems. But once in a while, I got peace and got happiness, and I'm grateful for that. All right, now, so that's gonna be it. I'm gonna leave it right there. Let me make sure I did everything. What did I talk about? Did the Esther Pearl video. All the links, if you want to see the more Esther Pearl video, there'll be a link in the description. For that, there'll be links to. I do recommend the design relationships. I recommend it for everybody, because I think that, like I said, like when I got married, I had no idea of what monogamy was or what I was supposed to be, and then the only thing people were telling me and trying to get me to be a godly man, and what was I supposed to be? Protector, priest, and provider, right? And see, that's the thing. I did not want to be that. I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be me, and I didn't really, because of my life, and I worked a lot. I didn't really get a chance to really go out and have fun. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. And then, not that I didn't want to do it, I just didn't understand exactly. I wasn't allowed to have this conversation before we got married. Let me say that. And then I don't understand why people will walk around and be unhappy, right? Because a lot of people were unhappy. You could tell at church they come up to the altar every week. They're unhappy because they're trying to make something work that doesn't work. And that's another thing I'm gonna talk about. Like, really finding your voice before you get married, and really knowing your truth, and always communicate your truth to your partner or your people that you're gonna be with. Because you get into a relationship, it's hard to get out. It's easy to get into a relationship, hard as shit to get out, right? I'm gonna tell you, it's hard as shit to get out. I've been through a lot of shit trying to get out of relationships. I'm not the violent type, right? But some women can be violent, right? It happens. So it's like really, if I don't really, I think I want to talk about, talking about the addiction is important to me too, but this is important to me too because it really, I think it really did a lot of damage to me and the other people, but only because I didn't take the time to know myself, right? And they didn't take the time to know themselves, and we came together, and it was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? All right, so I'm gonna leave it there. I appreciate this. I look forward to talking about swinging next week, and still continue this because I'm basically the reason that I'm talking about this now is because these are the two things in my life, and that I believe the combination of the two, with being married to my second wife, really got me to this point now, and I'm not dead, and I have a chance to at least have at least good like 20 years of happiness, I guess, or 20 years of peace. I'm looking forward to it. And I think it's important that I share this story because I know people, some people are still struggling with it, right? I'm talking as if I don't got a lot of time. I don't. But I'm gonna live, talk like it's been a long time because I feel really great. And right, I'm out. We're gonna see you next week. Announcer guy. Let me see if I press the right button. Go.
All right, people, we out.
That's
Choose
it.
love every time, and things will work out. All right, peace.
Peace.
See you next
Love
week.
you.